Welcome back. This is us, Hey Survivor Now podcast. You see who they got in the house tonight. Look, I got a new mic. For everybody out there in the podcast world, read the instructions before you start messing with your mic. So I didn't read my instructions yet, but I'm still on. And I'm joined by Bruce, notorious 2 seasons. Maybe another season, 50 back there. You know what?
That would be so nice. That would be so nice.
Bruce, I would root for you in season 50. You can guarantee I would root for you. You know, any other season, nah. But this one, I'll be rooting for you.
Well, I would appreciate that.
Ooh. Well, I'm messing. You know, when you're in charge, you got to look at other buttons. So, Bruce, how was your week? We got another Survivor week.
Yeah, week has been good so far. Like between last week and this week, I went to the RTP last week, and hats off to Rob Sestino because they do a phenomenal job. I went to the meet and greet on Tuesday beforehand. I met a lot of Survivor fans, a lot of people that were just over the world about this beautiful show that we all know and love. And then went to the event. I got a chance to be able to be funny. It was so much fun, and to me it was like I think I'm a funny guy. Like I got dad jokes for days, but then I got the other stuff. Quiet down, Abraham. I got the other stuff, and then people come to me like, Bruce, you're so funny. I didn't know you were that funny. Like, damn it. Like, I am funny. Don't let an edited show tell you that I'm not.
If you believe your own hype, man, you're funny, guy. You're funny. Hey, you're funny to me. How about that? How about that? I haven't been to one of the Ron Clark's. I'm sorry, wrong person, wrong day. I haven't been to RI Peach event. It's just timing. Yeah. This week, the Survivor Now podcast, most of the crew are in Atlanta at the Ron Clark event. I did see the pre-show, saw him out there on stage. It's always funny to see everybody because we don't know their true heights on the podcast, but we see them, they really tall, really short.
No happy medium.
I had to come back from Atlanta because I had my niece's birthday was this weekend. Family went down, so we came back. So we're gonna do a little different. We missing one of our podcast guys. He's coming in. Josh will be here, but in the meantime, we're gonna do a little different. We're gonna bring in Anthony. Anthony is our guest podcaster for this week. So something different. If it don't work, it ain't gonna work, but it's gonna work. Anthony, welcome to the show.
Hi guys.
We got some Survivor Now podcast. You gotta get into the mix.
I gotta get into the mix of it. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm just so like starstruck right now. I mean, you both were on Survivor, and Bruce, you competed twice. Like,
yeah, listen, some of us longer than others. I'm just saying.
Shoot. Okay. All right.
When the opportunity presents itself, Bruce, we will be having this conversation behind scenes. Okay. Well, we got you here tonight, Anthony. I sent this message out last week. I said, hey, let's try to get somebody on a podcast, one of our actual viewers out there. Anthony hit me on the DM. For the rest of y'all that didn't, this is what you missed out on. So got the DM. Anthony's going to join us for a little while this evening. We're going to go over tonight's actual episode of Survivor because it's starting to get wild out there. But before I do that, I see Josh is in the house. So let's get Josh in here. Welcome to the podcast, Josh.
What's up?
Hi, Josh.
How's it going?
It's going good. I'm starstruck a little bit. Oh, man.
Cool. Glad to have you here.
I had a crazy idea. I said, hey, how about we bring a fan in to one of our episodes? Now we got a fan. Anthony DM me, so he's in for a little while tonight. So let's jump right into the episode because I think tonight is when Survivor really starts. So what was the best first 15 minutes of this show? First of all, Anthony White, he said episodes suck. So we're going to have to address that too.
I'm sorry. Like, I was a huge fan of Chrissy, and just to see her go home, like, it really just broke my heart. Like, I was rooting for her. I really wanted her to get to the end to win. I understand that at the last tribal council that she was in, she probably did, put her foot in her mouth when she made that comment, which I am 100%, I totally agree with her. But, it just, when someone you're really rooting for goes home and you can see it coming, but you just don't want to believe it, it sucks. So.
Well, Anthony, she did pack a box lunch. See, she kind of did that last episode when she was in trouble. So
yeah, that's very true. So I can't really say that she wasn't partly to blame.
Well, let's take the episode up where, okay, before we get there, because we know what the end looks like, but the dynamics of after you merge, now you got to figure out who's going to be your true alliances.
Mm.
And we get the first, I wouldn't really call it a schoolyard pick. And it's obvious that Joe, which I thought was kind of funny when they do these little flashbacks. Joe said, well, whoever picks who's going to determine who we need to vote out, because we also see who's actually bonding together. And I'm like, you with the same person you started with.
Mm.
So how would you have redone that pick?
I think if I had to do the pick, I would probably pick someone random, so that way it's not obvious that the person I'm working with, like I'm that tight with them. Like, for example, like Camilla said in her confessional, if Kyle had picked Camilla, they would have exposed their whole duo thing. So I do feel like, I mean, at this point, it's pretty well known on the island that Joe and Eva have a tight bond, but I still think I would have kept it more on the down low.
Well, we got the greatness of editing because we didn't even see who Mitch and Star got picked together. Who you think was, Josh? Who do you think was the best pick? Who made the best pick?
That's a good question. I think that, well, I mean, obviously whoever David and Mary and Joe and Eva are the ones who like made it the farthest in the game, and Eva somehow like waiting it out to get Joe was good, and honestly Joe was a good pick too, because like, you know, him picking Eva didn't surprise anybody when, like, no. You know, clearly like Shaheen picking Camilla, like there were a lot of suspicion on both of them. Joe could do that because he was already in the position with Eva where like everybody knew, and Eva's a beast, as we know, in those challenges. So it was, I think it was win-win for both of them, but like Joe specifically, he's like, you know what, it seems like if all the men are picking women, so I'm gonna pick my girl Eva.
Well, Bruce, you know, you've been on these seasons before. If you was on this season, who would have been your pick?
Mary.
Why Mary?
Reason why I would have picked Mary would have been to take a little heat off of. Well, there's no taking the heat off of Eva and Joe. There's no taking the heat off, but it's strategy now. So now you want to make sure that you can, like, I could see Joe going as far as he possibly can, bringing Mary along, and if you now throw somebody else in to take away from a little bit of the heat of the two of you, that kind of makes a little bit more sense. So. I would have taken Mary. Said, Mary, come with. And then when I got a chance to like be like, okay, you know that we are solid here. Mary, who are you really clicking with? Who's your real person out here? And if she says this one, well, you know what? We just got our final four, because you know that I'm going to be with Eva, and nobody's taking Eva away from me. There's no getting around that. So pull in Mary who came over from a disgruntled tribe anyway. Who is even left from her tribe?
No one.
She's the last one.
Mary, yeah, she's the last one.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's your strategy right there. Just bringing her over and saying, okay, you have two ready-made. Who's your person that you would want to bring over to? And the four of us, we can go to the final four. And you know what's really funny though, not to go too long on this, but this is the unfortunate part in time where I started thinking about Final Four. I didn't want to start thinking about Final Four, but I started thinking about Final Four at this point in time. It kind of screwed me a little bit, because if you look at the way that things are going to now play out, two more before I go out. So I start thinking about Final Four. Now my mind is now thinking about the end as opposed to thinking about day by day.
Well,
Future Survivor players think about day by day, and you'll get to the Final Four.
I do want to give a quick shout out to Mary because
shout out.
Yeah, she held her own in that challenge. She did. And the fact that she outlasted the two muscles guys with Joe and David was fantastic. And currently, Mary is my new winner pick. I think she has.
Hold on. No, we can't just be switching per episode.
I know. But yeah, just shout out to Mary for beasting that comp.
Well, you got to look at it. So I think that Kyle and Camilla, is it Camilla? They had already established the best duos because nobody knows their duos. That's and then when Shaheen picked her, that was great because now Kyle took Chrissy. We see Joe took Eva. That wasn't nothing else. Joe took Eva. David took Mary, and then that left Mitch, and Star.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like y'all the last two. That's the school hard pick. That's what a schoolyard pick looked like. Okay, y'all ain't got nobody, so y'all the last two. They didn't even make the edit on when they got picked, so we know that they weren't trying to show that. So we get the pick done. Messy Jeff brings him brings him to the challenge, as Jeff does, and be like, okay, now let's see who picked who. Now we get the separation at the challenge. I thought this was a good addition to it. Not only do you have to do the challenge, but if you come in last, the last two groups, now you get to go on to another adventure. Good, bad, or indifferent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, go ahead, Josh, because like you had some on there. Go ahead.
I thought you were asking good, bad, or indifferent. I'm not really a fan of the going on the journey just because you come in last place. I mean, going way back to the beginning of Survivor, they would do the thing where, you'd have a challenge and it's like, okay, the first 7 to finish this, move on, and the first 5 to finish this, move on. Like, those are fun, but I think these are just so long and involved, and it takes up like 20 minutes of airtime. And then to have like the people at the bottom like go and like lose their vote risk losing their vote because of losing a challenge. Like, I don't know, with 10 people left in the game, like, we don't want to see people losing their votes. We want to see people like being able
what about them tacos? Somebody lost some tacos too, man. So what are we talking about?
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the top 4 getting their rewards, but like,
okay.
The bottom 4 like having to risk their vote. It's not as bad as it was in 45 when they all lost their vote and they had to do like a really hard like math problem or something like that to get it back. Mm-hmm. That was really not a fan of that, but I don't know.
It's one of those things, like, you get to this point and you no matter what lose your vote. And I said it during the game, like, your vote means everything. At the beginning of the game, the middle of the game, and the end of the game. Your vote means everything. So now it's being taken away because, yes, the takeaway is you don't get tacos. You don't get immunity. Go sit your ass down and smell everybody's breath when they come back. Like, that's the failure. That's
for sure.
Failure. Now it's like, okay, hey, you are now laying down. You got knocked down. I'm going to come up with a steel toe boot and kick you in the ribs because now I'm going to take your vote from you. So it's an evolution of the game, but it comes with it. You sign in the dotted line. So this is what happens, and we all agree. Bye.
Before I get Anthony in there for his thoughts on that, on the challenge and how he felt about the challenge, not the people playing the challenge, just the challenge. I gotta say that if CBS's intent was to make this something, it fell flat. Because where was Star at on any of the edits for the fact that she lost her vote? We're gonna hold that. Yeah, we're gonna hold right there. Anthony, what did you think about the challenge and how it was set up?
So the funny thing is, yesterday I had watched Heroes versus Villains when they did the exact same challenge, except they didn't have all the like intricate stuff to go on. And I don't know, I feel like the 3-part challenges have kind of been played out. I really don't understand why we couldn't have just maybe a hot take, but I don't know. I wish they could have just had like the poll challenge, and then the bottom group has to do the the thing, and I just felt like we could have just done the poll thing, and it would have gotten us the same results, basically.
Yeah,
you're leaning towards Josh on this one because
I guess I am.
I mean, the poll challenge is like a one. I don't know if Jeff said it's like the most iconic challenge ever. I don't know if I'd go quite so far, but it is like a very famous challenge that a lot of people are really excited to play, and there have been a lot of really noteworthy ones in the show's history. So like, why not just like let everybody do that, and rather than just the last 4,
All right, so for someone that has done the pool challenge, as soon as I
say it again, Bruce. Say it again, Bruce.
No, I'm not saying it again.
You did that poll challenge? Okay.
Hands on your hands are gonna get you.
Hey, look, little pause. Stop playing.
So what I'm saying is that with someone, I've done it before, and I'm obviously being as at that point in time probably weighed about 170-ish pounds, 75 pounds-ish. There is such a distinct disadvantage. Look at the men that were out there. A distinct disadvantage to the men and women on this challenge. It just, that's how I feel. These are my thoughts. Look at my season. Who were the last 2 that were there? Kelly and D.
Mm-hmm.
Who won? D. Who won this one? Eva. What do they both have? And Eva said it herself. She's got hockey thighs. She's a strong legs.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like the men tend to have bigger upper bodies. Look at David's ankles. You got little tiny ankles. Right? Love you, brother. Hope
Yeah,
you watch
yeah.
it.
And the men who do win this challenge are like Ozzy or like Hunter or like those, people who are like, like thinner, like
145 pounds soaking
climbing
wet.
up trees
Yeah.
and like really, like that type of athletic for
Yeah.
sure.
So
you
the
gotta-
3 challenges and have multiple challenges, multiple things to do. I love that. I love it because it gives a different dynamic, a different skill set for every single person that's doing this. So it's somewhere in there. There's an equalizer. You can have a very brute strength person. I would have liked to see them put the poles in, maybe on the second part, and then eliminate all the guys, and then the girls go.
yeah.
Like there could be a
Yeah,
diabolical
that would
reason
be
behind
fun.
it.
That would be
That
better,
would
I
be good.
think.
Yeah, I would have loved to see that. That's diabolical too. CBS, look at our episode and put the diabolical to work. Now,
That
here's,
eyebrow, $1
here's-
million.
is Bruce? Is that sand? Is that sand they're taking from the beach? Where they getting that sand from? Because that sand looked real sticky. I ain't never seen sand stick like that.
That's coming. That's actually coming from the moon. That's moon sand. Because there's I don't understand. It is the powderiest sand in the entire world. But I will tell you this: the first time we went out there, season 44, we had a photo day, and we got over, and they brought us over in boats, and we went to this one island.
Oh
And
yeah.
Yes, right. You're about to relive it. Jumped off the boat, and I landed in the sand, and I was like, what is this? Like it was like powder underneath my feet. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is great. That's what they did. They transported it from another island to these things. And it just, because if you look around everything else, it's all the brown dirt. They brought that sand in, and that sand will stick to every single part of your body.
Because every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, y'all got to have sand in your face. We see Mary kill the challenge. We see Eva kill the challenge. I mean, if you can get through the first part, find that and undo the clue. I think Kyle, the problem is his shoulders were too big. He couldn't maneuver his shoulders with the height of the sand. He needed to dig more sand out the way. We even see Mitch killing it. Mitch got through, and Mitch and Star were leading. They was in the first group, so they had a chance to win it as well. So I thought it was, in that aspect of it, it was a well put together challenge. But when Chrissy and Kyle got to them boards, I said they're making a comeback. I think it was rigged. Because they fell off that thing. I was like, oh, it's rigged. It's rigged. Did anybody else think the game was rigged? Because I was like, the boards just fell. I was like, I didn't think the boards could fall and drop.
Well,
everybody.
I mean, the ropes like separated.
Yeah, I didn't even think that could happen.
And you know what? It was one of those things like, if Chrissy, I love you. You're on my team. And I hate that you went away because you cost me mad points. I might lose first place.
Yep.
Quiet down, Abraham. I might lose first place because of this, but Eva, you got immunity, so we'll see what's up. We'll see what happens when these weird rankings come out. But
yeah,
it's one of those things. Like she was probably a little unsteady, and I think that's what caused them to fall. Like I'm actually on my television above me. I have it on right now, and I want to peek away and just kind of see exactly and see it again how it happened. But Chrissy, you fall. Like it's done. Like everybody else took their time. They were rushing a tad bit, and when you rush on any of these, especially something like that, you're done.
Especially with 2 people doing that. They've done the plank thing before, where you like try to get across a bridge like that. But with 2 people, that's really hard.
Yeah, see, I'm watching it right now, and I'm seeing like how slow and methodic everybody else is going, and I'm watching Kyle and Chrissy, and they are so manic right now. Like,
I mean, they kind of have to be because they were so far behind.
Yeah. But if you look at it, if you go back and look, you'll see like down the camera angle, they were dead even with Joe and Eva. They were dead even.
Anthony, what was your favorite part of the challenge?
I would say when they were like on the pole, and to see the 2 final people were female, that was my favorite part, definitely, especially to see like David and Joe, who are like gigantic and so muscly, but then to just see them fall off the pole and see Eva and Mary stay on, that was great to see.
Well, you know what? The physical toll, I don't know about Bruce, but that first night we were there getting bamboo and stuff, my arms were killing me. They were cramping up. It seemed like I expended so much energy all day, and then now I'm suffering for it. And Bruce has brought this to his attention. You got to look at the camera angles and where the sun is at. because they did a shot of Mary, and then the next shot, I was like, she's not even in that same position. What did they? So they cut that edit out and put it on there. I thought Mary was going to win that challenge. I was surprised at the way it was looking because Eva, like, she was going to let go, and Mary was like, and she just said, okay, you can win this one right here. So to me, great challenge in the sense that we had everybody kind of competing. They knew what was at stake. And then we can't forget about the tacos, because that was a better menu with, I don't know what veggie tacos look like, considering that you could just eat lettuce and tomatoes anyway. And I don't know why Jeff had to say that, but okay, whatever. I don't know why he threw them cupcakes in there. So get them cupcakes too, I guess. I don't know. So we see that we got a reward challenge at the end. We see Eva get the immunity necklace, which I think is great. I would have loved to at least got one immunity. How many you got, Bruce? I think 3.
I got 2.
2. I would have loved to just get just one. I ain't asking for a lot, just one. But and then you say, okay, now we get to the other 4 have to go on this journey. How y'all like these journeys? This is I thought it was a different journey, but how did you, Josh? Because you're a journey, you're a journey savant. So go ahead.
I think the challenge itself was interesting. The people I was watching with, and then as well as people on Twitter are talking about how it's like a Mario Party game where you're trying not to get like the the red ball in this case. But I think the challenge is interesting and I like that, but I didn't like the premise of it that you're trying to get your vote back, or you're fighting to not lose your vote. Because it's kind of similar to what they did last season where they were doing the card stacking thing, and whoever made the tower fall would lose their vote, and Caroline lost there.
That was a good one.
I think this was a better challenge than the card stacking thing was. It was more interesting and required more skill and collaboration and stuff like that. But calculation. But I still don't like the premise of it though, that they're fighting to not lose their vote when there's only 10 people left in the game, and this is really the first merge vote. I know they kind of merged 2 weeks ago, and then they officially merged last week, but this is the first for real one. Not the time you want to see someone lose their vote, because there's so few rounds where they get to. I don't want to see someone really, you have from final 10 through final 5. That's 6 rounds of play, and to lose your vote for one of them is brutal.
Yeah. Well, let's replace a player with a current player on the podcast. I'm going to replace Star with Bruce.
My little sister?
No, not you, Bruce. Star. Here's the thing. I want you to be Star in that challenge, because Star, even though she saw something coming her way, the edits never told us how she felt about it. I need you to reenact that and be like, okay, how would you feel in that situation, knowing that they're trying to stack those red balls on you so they can keep their votes?
It would be nonverbal, because I think she's smart enough to be nonverbal with her aggravation just by looking, because she's still in this game. Yes, they stacked it against her, and what the reasoning behind it was, it still is.
Oh, so they could do a big move,
but
they didn't do a big move.
They didn't do a big move.
Okay,
it's like you. Yeah. I'm not going to get to the end because we're going to talk about the end, but they didn't do a big move. I understand what it potentially could have became one, but they didn't do a big move. So what was the reasoning behind it? But me being Star right now, my job is to be able to take a look and take in what's going on. Who is Star's allies? So now Star can go to her allies and be like, yo, but who are her allies? Eva, she gave Eva the idol, but
they ain't got no loyalty to Star. No.
Right? There's no loyalty there. So Star's just got to play this. She can't go back and Shatia and start dumping the rice in the fire. She can't go and do that.
Hey, get off my girl Shatia, man. We're not doing that tonight.
No, I'm just saying.
That rice is gone.
She can't reenact that. I'm just but the fact is that now I'm now Star. Okay, good move. I got you. I appreciate you. She doesn't have a vote. Where would Star's vote have gone in to screw any of that up?
Nah, Star said right? we let's not. We can't jump that far ahead. So, Anthony, what do you think? How did you like the challenge in itself and the outcome of the challenge?
Are we talking about the journey or the
The
immunity?
journey.
The
No,
journey. It was funny that Josh brought up like the Mario Party thing because I'm on Survivor Reddit and someone in the Survivor Reddit community they posted a pic of the Mario Fruit Challenge.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
exactly it. I think,
Yeah.
several people on Twitter posted that too. It was like
Yeah.
the immediate clock.
There's a
Yeah,
Survivor
yes.
Reddit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So luck as I'm going to agree with Josh a lot tonight, but challenges where the contestants are basically forced to compete in them to win back their vote, I'm not a big fan of, especially when it's as luck based as that challenge was. So I felt like it would have been like better if they had like, you know, I don't know how to put it, but like a more fair competition in a way where it wouldn't have just been pure luck if someone lost their vote because they didn't compete in the challenge because they just got the wrong thing at the wrong time. But that's just my opinion. Not a fan of it.
It was like a map slash. We're gonna see who we can get on this one because I don't think. I mean, ultimately the balls were coming. It's just a matter of who was actually had any type of alliance.
Right.
Mitch is playing the most absolutely perfect in the middle line game because he initially started the episode off saying, "Hey, I need to play better," but Mitch is just there right now. And again, that's not a problem because some episodes there are a lot of players that are just there, but we're gonna see that change in a minute. So we get to the challenge, we get to the journey, we get to a part where we say, "Okay, this is red balls, blue. Was it blue? Red, blue. Get in there." Star loses her vote. Star absolutely handled this with grace. She don't say nothing, like looking at you, "Hey, don't do it to me," but they did it to her. So now we go back. Now we got to deal with, and this is for all y'all future Survivor players. Do not eat all the tacos.
Oh, poor Eva. Sorry, Eva.
Don't eat all the
That
tacos.
looks bad.
Remember that you've been there for 14 days already. Remember
day 15 when they got the
day 15?
tacos.
Do not eat all the tacos. But what we gonna do? Because I gotta post it. I gotta post a text. Hold on, because Kimberly said something that was really funny. Because that's what we get into. But they had a lot of good outtakes from different people. When they put me in charge, I still gotta look for stuff. And I can't remember. Oh yeah. The commercials. You're like, where the commercials at? Josh, don't never do these commercials, man. I'll be looking for buttons. Okay, we lost Anthony for just a quick second, but I love the fact that they put back the secret thing into the meal.
Yeah,
the little secret, the little note. I love who loved the note?
They did it last season, didn't they? Last season they did it with who got that note at the
Rachel did.
Rachel
got it at the auction
with the French fries.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I you know what? That's the part of Survivor I like when you go to a meal or something, and you get an opportunity to win a challenge, and you get a little extra. Then I like the way you gotta find it, hide it, and not share it. So that was pretty good. But before we get in that, we're gonna have a commercial break because that's what Survivor Now podcast can do. We have commercial breaks. Hold on, I gotta find one. Stop playing. You play too much.
All those buttons. Too many
Hey,
buttons.
look, I'm telling you,
who's got the button?
I'll be over here like, okay, we're gonna do this. Bam. Nah, wrong one. Messing with y'all. Messing with y'all. I hit the wrong button. Hold on. They let me do this, man. This is the best job ever right here. This is the best free job I've ever had.
He's gonna give everybody a mustache.
Yeah, everybody. Hold on. That's the best free job I've ever had.
Who wants a crazy hat?
I know, man. Look, I had this earlier. For all y'all out there to say, hey, he don't be ready. I'll be ready. But it's a lot of buttons. It's a lot of
ready
buttons.
to make a mess.
I know, man. It's a lot of buttons, and I'm like, when did y'all add all this? Oh, there it is at the bottom. Okay, here we go. Commercial.
Think you're the most knowledgeable Survivor superfan? Well, you can put that to the test with our Fantasy Survivor game. Welcome to Bracketology, fantasy sports for reality TV. We provide fantasy football style games for your favorite shows like Survivor and many more. We also have bracket style elimination challenges. Set your picks once for the whole season to see how your prediction skills fared. And don't forget to check out the season extras like contestant info, where you can see all the bios of each contestant, and our scoring recaps that are published each episode. Download the Bracketology mobile app or play on your computer at fantasy.bracketology.tv. It's entirely free to play, and you can win some awesome prizes. Good luck.
Hey, see, I was going to eventually get there. Anthony, we got to wrap up with you. I appreciate you coming on the first half of the show with us. Thank y'all. Remember, Survivor Now podcast might reach out to you and put you in one of our episodes.
All right. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Anthony. You got it.
I just want to say thank you so much for including me in this. I'm going to continue watching Survivor Now, Survivor 48. Can't wait for Survivor 49 and 50. Can't wait for Australia versus the world. That's going to be epic. Yeah, thank you guys so much, and keep doing what you're doing, because it's excellent. It's really good.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you, Anthony.
Now, act up. Now that we ain't got company, y'all gonna act up now because y'all know y'all like to do that.
We're the ones who like to act up.
This is
You telling us?
I'm about to act a fool in a minute. Let's go.
Okay. Look, first of all, stop eating all the tacos. Like I said before, stop eating all the tacos. It's gonna knock your stomach out. I love the fact that Eva said, "Well, I'm gonna keep this for me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell anybody about it. I'm gonna keep it for me." Even before she knew what it was, she was like, "No, I'm gonna keep it for me." Everybody gets there and they get to eating. Then they get to trying to strategize and say, "Who we gonna vote out?" Something went off the wheels on that little get together. Who was it? Me? What happened? Tell me what
it was. I think it was David who was like, "Oh, it's pretty sus that Shaheen was protecting, like, trying to go for Camilla." And I don't know. I don't trust her. And if we want to keep Shaheen close, we got to get rid of Camilla. And then Mary was like really pushing hard for that too, which was weird because I feel like we were seeing it from David's perspective a lot more, and Mary wasn't getting any confessionals about that. She just had one confessional in the beginning of the show. I don't know if she had anything beyond that. So there was the two of them who were really aggressively pushing for it. But I don't really know why. For Mary, at least. David was kind of clear because he's like all in on this whole strong five thing. And Mary, like, I don't know, does she know she's in an alliance called the Strong Six and that she's number 6 added there? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can speculate as to what her reasoning would be, but like, I really wish that they had given us something from her.
Bruce, I saw David make that choice, and I was like, the milkman. I mean, sometimes you look at it from a player perspective, and then sometimes you look at it from a viewer perspective. Did you think that who was a better choice to get voted out tonight?
Well, first off,
I would have voted out David, to tell you the truth, for Joe.
What perspective do you want to hear from? Because I have my own thoughts in regards to the player perspective, because I've been in the situation where I've been sitting around eating, and the edit for the viewer's perspective went a different way from how it actually went down. So I love editing. I do, because they can make any story that they want. So Survivor, keep doing what you're doing, because play the narrative in a way that makes sense for the winner of the show, whoever that is. I don't know because I'm not spoiled. But I think that the whole thing with Mary didn't. I honestly don't feel that Mary dumped on wanted to get Camilla out. I think that it was like a round table. They had gone around and said something, and they kind of just hyper focused on one subsect of it all. I can't say that I wanted to see the milkman go because he's on my team. Like I need him to stay, and I didn't want to see Christy go. But I didn't, to be honest, I didn't have any real inclination up until this point that Christy was going to go.
Yeah.
So editing did its job.
Me neither.
So keep making. It's like one of those things. Like, hey, here's a magic trick. Keep an eye on this hand, but you don't, because you keep looking at this hand, and this is where everything else goes. I wish I had a ball to make that look good, but I don't. But you see what I'm saying? Like, that's the beauty of this. Another thing, that's the beauty of this show. They've been doing it from day one. We're doing it from day one. It's like they have to keep the smell off of what the actual outcome is. And with it not being spoiled, it just, you're like, oh my God. And you expect and you want next week to be just as good.
Yeah, before I let you go, Josh, I'm gonna tell you when we get to it, I'm gonna tell you that I was totally shocked because of everything that happened in between. Take me to Kyle and how he was trying to maneuver to try to get that vote turned back on Chrissy.
My boy Kyle, he still feel pretty good about my draft pick. Still feel good about his chances to win the game. But yeah, man, I was nervous for him for a second.
Are we talking draft picks in our whole statements now?
I mean, it's what we do. It's what we do. We gotta use what we can to, try to get a competitive.
I'm just gonna pull something up real quick and kind of see what
Well,
is in regards to his draft.
Whoa! Stop! Hey, I got a couple of W's under my belt from previous seasons. So until you get one of those,
see when you keep doing that, that's why we have to keep bringing up our draft picks. Like this is Bruce
and
and I were at the
awesome.
bottom all year last season. We gotta take what we can get this time.
And I won last year, so that's how I do it.
Yeah, so that's why we're bringing it up.
Keep messing around. Star gonna be in there. She gonna win.
My boy Kyle, really believe in him. Definitely think he has a good shot of going far still. But yeah, no, I mean, he should have gone really hard to protect Camilla because Camilla's his number one.
Yeah.
Up until this point, it was kind of on the DL. No one was really suspecting that. He definitely revealed his hand more with that, so it's probably not a secret as much that he's really prioritizing Camilla. And good for him for continuing to push, even though he was getting so much opposition in his case that he was making, because a lot of people in that situation would fold and just kind of like cut bait. But he's like looking ahead at the game, and he's like, okay, after this, there's going to be 9 people left, and I'm going to need to have someone like Camilla on my side because he we know that his end game is not to go to the final 6, final 5 with the rest of the milkmen. Like he knows that he's going to have to differentiate himself and kind of make his own move, and he knows that he's going to need Camilla to do that. So he probably lost some social capital with David and Eva, and maybe Mary a little bit, but it was worth it. But I think what he has to do now, I don't think he has the option to just be like, oh yeah, let's go Star next week, let's go Mitch next week. He needs to gather his people next week and make a move then, because I think the cat's out of the bag, and I think you gotta full send it now that you know that that friction is there.
You said full send it. I got to use that on somebody. I think one of his best statements of this episode was when he went to Joe and said, "Hey, Christy is floating your name." Yes. It seems like when you tell somebody's floating your name, it's an instant, I got to vote you off. I'm like, well, not really, but that turns it on to where now you got Joe saying, hey, I don't want to vote this way. I want to vote this way, but I think it's going to be better overall. Now, we got some players that was not in this edit, not being concerned about being voted out, and that would be Mitch and Star. Mm-hmm. Was they even playing in this episode?
I'm sure they were. They might have shipped them back to the States for the day.
Yeah. They went back. And that's Survivor and editing.
Yeah, they didn't give them anything after that, which they didn't give anything to Mary. They didn't give anything to Star. They didn't give anything to Mitch. They didn't give them anything in that post-tribal council scramble. They didn't really give anything to Shaheen either. So I wish that they had shown us more of what was going on, because so much of that was about that conversation with between the 5 of them, on the rock or whatever, which yes, that is ultimately where the decision got made. So it seems, but I don't know, there's still half the rest of the cast sitting aside, thinking their own thoughts. They have to be thinking, they have to be making plans, doing something. And it's a bummer that didn't show us any of that.
What's crazy is when you go there, the beach that you're on is a nice size, but it ain't big enough to hide 5 people. So
no, and they knew.
You look out there, you're gonna see 5 people sitting out there. We didn't see anybody really sitting at camp. We didn't see Mitch, and that's where we circle back around and say, okay, we go to the challenge. We hear that they want to make a big move. They want to save their votes, and then they get back, and we don't hear anything about what's the big move. To me, Chrissy wasn't a big move. If you were going to do a big move, you'd have voted either David out, in my opinion. You'd have voted out David or Joe, because Eva got the immunity necklaces. Yeah. And I think they would be the 2 biggest physical threats to vote out if you were saying, hey, let's break that up.
So they're not going to go after Joe right yet, especially now that Eva won immunity, because
and she has an idol.
That's right. So Joe's the number one. So you can just be like, yep, there you go. This is for you. And then Joe's safe. So that's a wasted vote. So now they got to wait. And I think David has some good social capital with everybody. So he was somewhat protected that way. Remember, Chrissy, she was on my team. May she rest in peace. Be a survivor. She came out hard. Like nothing that you say is forgotten in Survivor because I tell people all the time, if you think back to, like, let's say, this is weird, I'm going to say it, 1950. 1950, you knew exactly who all your neighbors were, all your cousins, aunts, and uncles. You knew every street name. You knew all this stuff. Why? Because you didn't have any distractions. There was nothing else out there. There's nothing in the world to distract you. Now, don't ask me what 2 streets over are from where I live. I'm distracted. I got my phone. I got my kids. Got all this, sports, everything. Now, think about Survivor. You have it on your phone. You're only focused on what's going on around you. You hear more nature than you hear anything else. You don't hear a plane. You hear a boat because you sit in one to go to a challenge, and that's it. Like, everything is just rustling of stuff.
Right, ain't nothing that nice.
So now, what's that?
Yeah, you're right. I don't remember hearing a plane the whole time I was there.
Nothing. But the fact is that you literally, now you have every thought is concentrated on what it is as people are saying. So now with Chrissy putting her foot in her mouth last week, time to stop being nice than the other. That's a hold on to your thought. Future Survivor players, hold on to that. Unless you want to get voted off the next week. And here we are. So they remembered that she said that. She's now not trustworthy to anybody. And then she started off the episode talking about, like, this one's a threat, blah, blah, blah. So now that's the reason I think that's why she went home, is because she was playing a little bit more aggressive. But also, Joe couldn't get voted out because they were afraid that the idol would be used on him and it would have wasted vote. And then somebody would have been caught trapped from it. So here we go.
I would say the editing allowed for us to probably, if we'd have caught it, to know Chrissy was going home tonight. Because they started the episode off with her saying, hey, what's said at Tribal is just being said at Tribal. It don't really mean nothing. And then you turn around and you say, hey, let's cut off the head of the snake and let's vote Joe. Now, if somebody had came to her and said, let's vote Joe, because it's like you just said, Bruce, you looked at it and said, okay, Eva is the ally. At that time, you don't know that she's going to win immunity, but you do know she has an immunity necklace. So you kind of say, well, we know if it happens and we target one and we ain't got the numbers, they're gonna block each other. So that's a wasted vote. Josh, would you have been that over-communicative person at Tribal Council?
Like Chrissy was?
Yeah. She went in on a lot of folks.
It depends. I mean, if you know your back is up against the wall, then yes. I think she went down swinging. She was spitting facts the whole time. I think a lot of people who are watching it are, agreeing with her, rooting for her, being like, oh yeah, you're saying what you gotta say. And like, yeah, do you want to is it maybe smarter sometimes to keep your mouth shut and like keep all the heat off of you? Maybe, but she's seeing the writing on the wall. She's seeing that she's not part of it. So she's doing what she can to like put the attention out there on other people and just hope that it's not her this time. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think she necessarily like went from a good spot and then like blew her cover by talking at Tribal Council. Maybe that's what they made it seem like that, but I don't think she was like, in a really good spot and then really tanked her stock last week. I think. So you think
that she was in like some kind of either a fair medium, and then by her saying something, maybe it might have dropped it down, but she was already in a situation where she wasn't highly.
That's what I think. Like, okay. Yeah, that's what I think. Because in the very beginning, we saw she was in a tight 4 with Kyle and Camilla and David. But then that hasn't really been brought up ever since the tribe swap. So I feel like other than that, we haven't really seen her with any allies or anything. I mean, she didn't really get that much screen time this season. I just saw she got her 8 episodes, she got 12 confessionals. So they didn't give her like a ton of strategic point of view. They didn't give her
Bruce is wild.
No, I mean, I saw a graphic before coming on here.
Bruce, when you said the graphic, Bruce made a facial. That Bruce be messing up.
Yeah. I mean, stats are stats.
Nobody wants that little. Like
no. Like in the new era, I feel like they are generally better. Well, maybe not. Like in the last couple seasons, I think they've been a lot better at making it more balanced in their screen time. But yeah, Chrissy didn't really get a whole lot. I think that's what you said. You thought she was. Spunky.
I thought she had a spark to her. I
For
like
sure.
the way, yeah. So
yeah, no, she's super fun. And I think she had a lot of really good things to say. Like both last week and especially this week, I was like, yeah, she is spitting facts at this tribal council. I love everything that she's saying. I don't know why they didn't give her more. And yeah, I said that earlier, but yeah, I like when that was all happening. It's like, oh yeah, Kyle's pushing for this, David's pushing for this, Joe's pushing for this, like Eva's pushing for this. But they're leaving out everyone who's not like in that center.
Mitch, Star.
Yeah, like Mitch, Star, Camilla, Chrissy, Mary. Like I want to know what they're thinking.
Well, the milkman said put on a different season, but we ain't got to that yet. Go ahead, Bruce.
Says the guy who didn't even watch the show, who was like practically recruited, hasn't watched that many seasons, and he's like, "Oh yeah,
should have been on different season."
Whatever. All right, Bruce, what were you gonna say?
Future Survivor players. All right, you ready?
The Omen. Yeah.
Here we go. Some people will look at this and say, "This is a controller to my television." Thank you. Turns it on, turns it off. There we go. What Survivor is looking for, and this is how you're going to get your confessionals, is you're going to say, so now, when I reach out my arm and I grab onto this controller and I bring it back to me and I'm able to look at it and see that there are red buttons, there are blue buttons, yellow buttons and green buttons. There are buttons with letters, buttons with numbers. There's so many things. I can turn on all of my internet stuff. I can go up, down, right, left. They want a story.
True that.
I don't think Chrissy was giving a story. So Chrissy's life has been being a firefighter. If Chrissy would have gone out there and said, yo, this is a situation just like with blah, 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 and there's diarrhea in the mouth and just runs it out there, they'll chop it up, edit it, and they'll throw it out there. You need to kid, like, she's probably an amazing woman. I've never met her. I cannot wait to meet her. I really can't wait to meet her. She reminds me of my sister. Like, I'm telling you, she really does. Just outgoing with the hair and the whole night, but the storytelling has to be there. I see Kyle on all the time. And Josh, please give me an idea who's got the most confessional stuff out at this point. But think about these people that they just tell a story. They want to know the story. They want to know, like when they say, how are you feeling about X, Y, and Z? And if you say, he's an asshole, and that's it, they're going to be like, tell me why. Or they can say, how do you feel about him? I think he's an a-hole because of X, Y, and Z. You just go into a dissertation as to why you think that person's an a-hole. Like, that's what they're looking for. They need a story to be told. So as much as the stories you can tell, you do, and I think that's the reason why Chrissy didn't get the edit. I think she had a good inroads with people and might have rubbed a couple of them the wrong way because she's older and she's in more of a profession that allows her to be an alpha. And she talks about all the time about the fire and stuff like that. Like now we look at the makeup's not too much younger, but they're younger than her, and they're just like, yo, I'm done. Like I'm gonna stick around with these other people. I don't feel like being bossed around. And
hold up, Bruce. She's a firefighter, and Joe's a firefighter.
Yeah,
there was
Joe's got Eva. He doesn't give a shit about anything else. Like he didn't care. He has his ride or die right now, and she's getting information. He's getting information. They give it back to each other, and then they dissipated to dole it out to whoever else is listening to them.
I think in Chrissy's case, not to cut you off, but I think in Chrissy's case, she ended up on the wrong tribe. I think if she'd have ended up on one of the other tribes, she'd have had somebody to balance her out.
That's a cop out. I'm sorry, I gotta push back on that.
I'm just saying. Think about it. Okay, think about who was on her tribe. Yep. Who could talk her off the ledge? Of the original tribe, who could have talked her off the ledge? Because literally, we saw the edit say that we had a different vote going into tribal. And then all of a sudden, every vote for was Chrissy. So what happened between, her conversation in tribal could have been tempered by somebody saying, hey, hold out. Don't, because Jeff asks everybody questions. I'm telling you, the key to tribal council is say less, but say something. He gonna keep coming. Say less, but say something. Like Kyle said, hey, look, it's been a long day. We had a lot of stuff on our heads. We did the challenge. We're exhausted. People were trying to make decisions and stuff. He made it sound good that he didn't agree. Mary said something. It was like, boom this, boom that. She was like, boom, 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 boom. And I was like, what that got to do with anything but boom? And but she made it interesting. Star said, I was sitting over there by the tribe and somebody did this and somebody did that. And I was in the middle. And I was like, say less. Then we get to Christine. Christine said, hey, what y'all waiting on? Which was what everybody in the game of Survivor right now should be thinking. What are you waiting on to make the move before these other dominant players take y'all out? Because that's what normally happens. It doesn't make, to me, the physicality doesn't make a difference because they just lost the challenge anyway. So anybody can win depending on what the challenge is. But Christine, like you said, Josh, was spitting facts the whole time. She just didn't have nobody to temper that. I think that's what she needed.
I also don't think she had anybody like in her corner, like going to bat for her, like with her.
I'd have got at the corner too if I wasn't there.
I know. I mean, the interesting thing about this is like, we're talking about like, oh yeah, people need to make a big move. They need to make a big move. But then in past seasons, like I know in season 46, we were talking like, why is everybody so eger to like turn on their number one ally? And everyone's like trying to make a big move. And then you're just like one after another, boom, 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 boom. And then, I don't know. We're left with like, I mean, it was a good like Final Four, Final Five, but it wasn't like it was after a bunch of like the bigger names and bigger threats went because of everyone was making these big moves all the time. And I think in modern Survivor and in the new era specifically, we're used to these like, I don't know, people just like wanting to make a move every single time. And then, so, you don't really know what the stakes are each time because it's like, okay, yeah, it's not like you have a lot of time to accumulate power, and it's not like you have like a bunch of votes where you're like flexing your dominant alliance and then you get taken down. That hasn't really happened a whole lot in the new era. So this whole thing where people are just kind of getting picked off the bottom, we're losing Charity and then Say and then Cedric and now Chrissy. We haven't seen a stretch like this in the new era, I don't think. So on one hand, it is frustrating, right? Because you don't want to see them take off Chrissy. And especially when, I don't know, some members of that Milkmen, like Strong Five Alliance are like have the attitude that they do. You don't necessarily like love to see that alliance like run the table. But also at the same time, like if it's a big move every single week, then like, is anything really a big move? Like if everything is a big move, like then nothing's a big move.
What was the season they had the best? I want to see a good blind side.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's coming. Unless it's not, obviously. But I do think it's coming. It's just a matter of when, because there's no way that like Kyle and Camilla and Joe, like they're just gonna let David like keep doing his thing. Yeah, I feel like it's coming, and they're just like building it up, like waiting for it to happen.
We got 8 players. We got 8 players left.
9 people left.
9 people left. I don't understand. See, this is the thing I don't understand. I don't understand where this whole thing, big move, big move, big move. It's not it's a move. There's no such thing as a big. There's a blind side.
Yeah.
The blind side is when the dude gets his, he or she get their name written down. It's like,
Look, that look is the same no matter what it happened to.
Right? This big move thing doesn't make any sense to me because it's like if it's you don't have that capital. It's not like if you have chips and you're playing poker, and all of a sudden someone goes all in with 25 and then they double up. That's a big move. Okay, you're not there's no capital like that.
Yeah.
Okay, if you look at social capital, it's all what we perceive as huge social capital.
Yeah,
that's what it is. This could have been a big move tonight, Chrissy going on because she could still be tight with the other 3, and then now she's gone. But no, she was voted off by people from the other 3, so there's no big move.
But Camilla did say something.
Kelly had a blind side. That was a freaking blind side.
Yeah, that was a blind side.
You know what I'm saying?
Camilla said something that was very true. That until this episode had not been said, jury management. Is this the time to manage? Yeah. We know who's not voting. If David makes it to the end, we know at least one vote he won't be getting.
Yep, for sure.
And is that, are we concerned
about
jury management?
I mean, David's clearly not.
No, David went so hard to the paint on this episode. He was like, "You probably should have been on a different season."
Yeah, I mean, you heard him a couple weeks ago being like, "Oh yeah, if you're a social player, if you're a strategist, if you're like doing all this politicking, you're out." It's just like, well, buddy, you need to get people to vote for you in the end. So
Yeah,
like you
here's
need
the
to do
thing.
that at least a little bit.
He, as much as he said that, David, love you. Look, man, let's go. As much as he says that, he's doing what he said that
He
he's
is.
voting out, because this is the game. You have to strategize. You have to
For
be
sure.
the person to be able to do all this to get yourself to the next level. Now, jury management didn't just start this week. It didn't start.
No,
week.
that started.
No.
It's been going on since when 2 weeks before the mergatory happened, because people start thinking about, okay, like who's going to do what? I'm going to be tight with my people, and then if I'm tight with my people, who is it that I want to be tight with that I'm going to be able to go to the end with that I know that I could beat at the end? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, put it this way. Let me and I can only speak to my experience. Caleb said that, and I remember this very vividly. He said to me, why didn't we just vote out the weaker people as to what Milkman's doing and let the bigger dogs go at it at the end? Well, I was like, Like, I'm thinking now that I want to not have that happen. I would have loved to have it switched around. If I would have made it to the final three and then had it switched around where Caleb wasn't on the jury, because I know that his vote was not going towards me if I made it to the final three. I knew that for a fact because of the way that he played a shot in the dock to be saved, and then he was out the next week. But I would have loved to see it switched around where Sifu would have been in it, because I had more of a connection with Sifu by way of personal outside of the game. So you're thinking about this on a regular basis about jury management. Even like I'm watching right now, they're in tribal council right now, and people are talking and they're thinking, okay, so he's an elegant speaker and he needs to go because the reason why he needs to go is because he's going to threaten my game at the end. But I got to be nice to him. Who can I get to say his name to get him voted out? So then I can be okay with them on the jury, but then I can reveal it at that point in time in my final dissertation to the jury on how I can win this game.
Yeah, because the only person that right here that's currently, and he's only in the dark until Christine gets to Ponderosa, is Cedric, because he doesn't know what happened in those last 2 days. So he doesn't, since he got voted out, he doesn't know what happened. So every person that gets voted out next adds on to a story that the other person can't see. You ever seen that thing about telling the story? By the time the story get to you, it's a different story. That is what you're going to get until we get down to the final three. Yes, sir. Bruce.
I'm sorry. I have to raise my hand because something like that, it was like a trigger for me right now. I remember I was in Ponderosa twice. The first time that I was in there, every person that came out, they said, this is the reason why I was voted out. Every person was wrong except for one for the first time. And Claire was the only one that was wrong.
Claire was
right. Claire was right. Everybody else was wrong. So Claire was like, they didn't like me because I talk too much. Ding, ding, ding. Love you, sweetheart. I really do with all my heart. But that was the case. 45, now we get out, and now people are talking about, here's the reason why people voted me off. And they weren't right. They were not right. They weren't thinking about the game. They were thinking personally. So now everybody that's getting voted off that's going to Ponderosa, they're going to take it personal. Because now you just took away my shot at winning $1 million. You now took away an increment of $5,000 to $8,000 that I'm going to be getting in my pocket now. Because right. So now it's like you're screwing with my money. Now they're taking it personal. Whenever you mess with somebody's money, you take it personal. So now they're going to go into Ponderosa, and Chris is going to be like, them POSs, they voted me out because they like this one more than they like me. And because I said that, like, that's what it's going to be when everybody gets together and they all talk about it. Some people will accept it. Some people will not. And it's going to take them a long time to be like, you know what? They were right. That's why they voted me out.
I was like, petty people are petty, man. I think Survivor's got to be, for a certain percentage, the most pettiest game in the end as any other game. And the thing about it is, you're right, Bruce. People are, I ain't gonna lie, I was mad as shit for a while. I ain't gonna lie, because I was like, y'all trash. To me, it didn't make no sense. And then when you go back and you talk to players later and you have that conversation, hey man, what was the reason why you voted me off? And if you hear that reason, you can be like, oh, that makes sense, or that's the stupidest shit you ever heard. But anyway,
you gotta accept it.
Nah, I can't do it. Still, hey, I'm good with mine. So, but we see where, and what I thought was really interesting was we found some stuff out in tribal council. Don't I think David said too much. I think he said too much when he said, hey, you should have went and played on another season. Also, if everybody's shooting for Shaheem, I don't know why nobody's shooting for him and Chrissy voted for him. I don't understand that part. So where was that conversation to get that one vote on him? So somebody was talking and they made something up and they threw it on there. But I looked at the votes. I said, well, let me see who voted for who. Everybody voted for her. And I got to say the reason why they probably voted for her, even David voted for her, is because of her tribal council. What she said at tribal council, going back and forth and doing all that, backfired on her. I understand how she wanted to play the game. I understand what you were saying because she's, like you said, Josh, absolutely right in what she was saying. I just think she really needed somebody next to her to say, hey, you good? Pat you on the knee. Stop that now. We're going to talk about that later in the dark. She ends up going home. But everybody votes for her. So it wasn't like you can go back to tribal and be like, go back to the camp. And go back to camp and be like, I didn't vote for it. We saw all the votes. We know you voted for her.
Yeah.
So I don't know where David and Mary going to actually be able to stand on that because that's going to be interesting. We see another player lead Survivor. Now we have 9 left, y'all. 9 are remaining. Out of the 9, I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction. Out of the 9, Star, Mitch, Kyle, I don't want to mess the name up. Start Miss K. I'm gonna call you Miss K because I ain't trying to mess up tonight. Camilla. I think they're gonna form a nice little alliance and start voting other ones out. Who am I missing? Yeah, that's it. That's 4.
Wait, you said Star,
Mitch,
Camilla,
Kyle,
and Kyle. Yeah, they're gonna need one more though.
Shaheem is like because Kyle wants to get him out, and sometimes that causes a bigger problem because you're trying to get another player out.
I think at this point though, like I think that might have been the initial plan, like Kyle like planting seeds to get out Shaheen, but then he's seeing all the opposition that he's getting and seeing how David is like really asserting himself as someone who's like not easy to work with. I think that Kyle might be shifting his focus, but then I think the question does remain about Mary. Like, is she that locked in with David that she's not going to flip on them, or would she see herself as a free agent and go the other way? Because we don't know where she's coming from, even though she's somehow gone from the only person left from her OG tribe and is now in this strong 6 somehow. We don't know how she got there other than that David brought her in, but we don't know what she thinks about it or what.
6 and 9 are not good numbers.
No,
you got 9 players number, you number 6. So you hoping that the other 4 go before you. I think
my thought with Mary, this is again pure speculation. Because, again, we don't know what she's thinking. We don't know how locked in she is with this Milkman Alliance. But my thought is that she sees, like, okay, they're going to try to pick off all of these other people, but then eventually they're going to turn on each other. And then when they all turn on each other, nobody's going to be looking at me, and then I will be there when the dust all settles.
Mary's thinking that, you're saying?
That's my thought. That is my best guess at why she's sticking with them.
Can I push?
But we don't know. Yeah, please, because that's like I said, just a hypothesis.
Sound good.
The reason why I push back on that is because, and again, I will constantly say it due to my own experience. We had the Reba 4. Reba 4 recruited 2 people.
Oh yeah.
Okay, they recruited 2 people. Made it what? The Reba 4 plus 2.
So you mean they recruited Emily and Katora?
Emily and Katora, and they fought at the bottom, and even. So this would be the part of the season where Kelly would have gone home. Next week would have been Kendra. So now here's the thing: is that Kendra was still trying to claw to get to the bottom of that group. And Kendra was, they looked at her and they said, "Bye-bye, you gotta go." Emily, once her usefulness was up, aka getting me out, she was gone because I had my idol, and they said, "Flush your idol, we'll bring you in." Bullshit. Emily helps to flush it or get me knocked out. Boom, Emily's gone. Her usefulness is gone. So now she's not going to be able to sit back and be like, all right, let's watch these people eat themselves up from the inside out. It's not going to happen. They're going to be like, okay, let's take stock of we have our people here. Oh, goodbye. You're going. So now the 6 goes to 5, and she is that casualty. And then the 5 eat each other up.
Okay, now to push back on that, the reason the reason that I had that idea about Mary is because I heard Katora say in an interview after the show that was kind of her MO, where she's like, yeah, I mean, when it was, she could have like gone to Rocks or at least like threatened to go to Rocks to take a swing at Julie or Austin. But instead she flipped on Caleb, and she says, okay, yeah, I'll go with them because, and we'll pick off everyone else. But then they're eventually going to turn on each other. They're not going to like take each other out like all the way. They're going to turn on each other, and then someone's going to be left at the end, and that's me. I don't know. I mean, you would know better than I would, Bruce, like how respected of a strategy that is, or how, yeah, I know. I don't, as a fan, I think it's pretty lame. I think it's lame. Yeah. As a player, but also as that the show kind of allows it, because when you only need to get to the final four, like there's no, like the last vote of the game is a final five. Like you just be like, okay, can I skate through enough so that, they get to a point they're going to be looking at me. And if I somehow get through the whole like fire nonsense, then I'm there and I can explain that this is my deliberate strategy. I don't know if that's a winning strategy. I don't think it. Yeah, no, you would know better than I would because you were there. I don't think it is either, but that's my best guess as to what Mary's thinking, because they haven't given us anything.
But Mary is unfun. I'm sorry. Before I lose this thought, Abraham.
Your ass is old.
Plus I've been drinking. So the thing is too is that you take a look at let's go back and say Katora. You take a look at that. She didn't realize that she was not relevant in the game. Nothing she did was relevant. And I say that because jumped on every single vote that she possibly could. None of it was any of her original thinking. Period. End of story. So what in that, listen, come at me if you want to, because you're about to get some smoke. The problem that you run into is that they dragged her to the very end. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that somebody else got caught up in that, which was Jake. So those two brought Jake and Katora to the end. Whichever one of those two would have made it through Fire Making Challenge, they would have got 0 votes. 0. Yeah. Unfortunately, it was Jake. Jake got 0 votes. Katora got 0 votes. The delusion was so grand that, oh, I'm going to make it to the end because I'm going to ride the coattails of whoever. Go ahead, ride the coattails of someone because they are dragging you. You are not helping them. In that future Survivor plays, keep that in mind, okay? Play your game. Do your thing, what you want to do. Don't sit there and be drug along. And you got to realize you're being drug along. You got to realize.
I think Mitch said that today when he said, "Hey, I want to play."
Yeah.
But we see from 41, we see Xander 0 votes. We see every season somebody gets that zero seat. But But I will say, here's the beauty of the game. You can create as many the different puzzles and events, and you can do all that stuff. The one X factor for me, my thoughts in Survivor, is them 18 castaways. You do not know every season what you're going to get out of them.
No.
You don't know if we got coattail riders or we got somebody to just kind of maneuver through. I got to give them credit. Every season, that 18, they make the season.
For sure.
And I'm like, who would if we had to say who was going to win today before we wrap this up this evening, I would love to see Kyle win. I don't know if Kyle's going to win. I would love to see him win because of how he's maneuvering through the game and making those moves and just doing. Now he also has somebody, if Kay goes to the jury, she's on the jury and she can speak to the things that he's done, and she'll be a vote for him. I think Mitch, whenever he gets voted out, he's not going to take it personal. I don't know if he's a winner or he's going to be on the top. I don't know any of that stuff, but I just like the fact that right now, Eva and Joe going to get destroyed. No question about it, because you're already setting, you got 9 players. And if 9 players and them other 8 players don't realize, if you don't break up that, you definitely won't win $1 million. You're playing the game of Survivor. And Christine was absolutely correct. You're going to have to start playing. And I think we saw that tonight, where now that you got Christine out the way, Star and Mitch need to make a decision on who they want. They need to play together to play with somebody else. Mitch can't jump on somebody else's coattail, because I think what you're saying, Josh, is people jump on people's coattails, but we see in a confessional where you want to play, but we didn't see a big move from them tonight. Mm-hmm. Star couldn't make a big move, but she never vote. But neither one of them was on the chopping block.
Yeah. And I think, going back to what you were saying about how it's the 18 people each season that make the whole season, and you don't know like what sort of players they're going to be. You don't know what they're going to prioritize. You don't know like who's going to rub who the wrong way. And that's the beauty of the show. And I agree. And that's why the show has still been going on for 25 years. And I think the thing I was getting at this a little bit earlier, but the thing that's interesting about this season is that we've had 4 pretty straightforward votes in a row of someone like, no one's really going to bat for Charity. Let's take her out. No one's really going to bat for Cedric, now Chrissy. So they take her out. To do that 4 times in a row in the new era is pretty unprecedented, if you ask me, as a fan.
It's kind of boring.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But like that, like this
easy
is my point is like these are the first time that we've seen people who are willing to like wait and to like take the easy votes that many times in a row to set themselves up to make the bigger move. Normally, players in the new era are chomping at the bit a lot more to assert themselves, make the big blind side, take a big swing, whatever it is. And that's interesting about this season. If it shifts and if it goes in a direction that it I don't know, it is a lot more.
It has to go that way. It has to go that way.
I think so too. Like, but I was saying that last week. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a real merge. This is what's going to happen. I did not think that Chrissy was going to go. I thought one of the milkmen was going to go this time, but so it could happen, right? That like say Star and Mitch are the next 2. I doubt it, but
obvious.
I mean that's like like in that could happen if you have all the strong guys at the end of the finale. It could be interesting, but I do think that
I don't think so.
All of these quote unquote like boring votes and like having this alliance that it seems like a lot of the fan base is like rooting against more and more. I think that should they get turned on, it is a good thing that the buildup is what it is, because it's going to hit that much harder when like Joe goes home or when David goes home or when Shaheen goes home. It's going to hit that much harder because we've seen all of these more straightforward votes in a row.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't mind seeing, again, here's the thing. I mean, I know Bruce might be able to relate. We can relate as players of the game of Survivor. And I would love to see Joe and Eva make it to the end. Oh man, that'll be epic. But somebody got to sit in the 3rd chair. So somebody got to sit there. But at the same time, as a fan, and I want to see a game, and I want to see you play the game of Survivor, outwit, outplay, outlast, start knocking them down. Joe, Eva, David, especially David for talking trash tonight. You get voted out for talking trash tonight.
David, also, he's asking for it at this point. Like he's definitely got to go.
I mean, just for being who you are. And just because we saw you in the edits at the end of this episode does not mean that David's going home next week. So that's going to be an interesting episode, because I think that's going to be pivotal to see what group is going to make it to the final 4. I'm sorry, final 3.
So the I'm looking at it and saying, okay, they're trying as hard as they possibly can to give us something good.
Yeah.
Every week.
And I appreciate that, but I can see Star being, in the final 4. I can see Mitch being in the final 4.
Yeah.
And then I don't see it. If I was to pick either Eva or Joe, probably would see Joe before Eva. And it's human nature is going to kick in. Human nature is going to kick in and say, okay, and I want to say greed, but selfishness is going to kick in, and which it is. Like, listen, you have to in this game, and they're going to start taking a look at people and saying, okay, how am I going to be able to beat this person's story? You can't beat a lot of people's story that will tug at a heartstring.
No,
so
you can't beat Eva's story.
You can't beat Eva's story. You can wrestle Mitch's story a little bit, and get into the dirt with that. But anybody else that's there, like Joe's a dad, he's a family man. David, Mr. Milkman, I appreciate you, but what's happening with him right now, he's now tired. The man's tired.
Oh, look. Hey, look, he looked like
he's getting ornery.
Yeah.
That's the word of the day, ornery. He's
Not
getting
easy.
ornery, and he's gonna stop barking at people. And that's going to get him sent home. I think he's going to be sent home probably not next week, the week after. So my vote when I went home, I think that's when David's going to go home. So you now take a look at Kyle. Kyle's being so cool and collected. Like I can see Kyle making the final 3. and being a part of that. And like you said, I can see Kyle winning because he's
just like he's moving. How he's moving is just like he's playing the game.
And but then he turned around. He's like, okay, I pitched this. David, you want to go? Fine. We'll do what David's got to do. I'm going to back up. Most people like that are alpha personalities like that. They're like, no, you said this. I don't want that. I want this. And
but Kyle still ultimately got his way at the end of the day. Like Chrissy left and it wasn't Camilla.
But the way he presented it was like, I'm not pushing anybody. I just want to give you the information that I heard.
Yes.
For future Survivor players, that is what you say. That is what you say word for word. I'm not saying anything. I just want you to know all the information that's currently been said out there, because that's how he got Joe.
Yeah.
He was like, hey,
it was used against me
heard.
because I wouldn't put a name out there. I was just like, yo, that sounds good. I never put a name out there until I literally had to at the very end.
And that's what you got to do. You can't be forceful. And then he went around and said, okay, David, let me talk to Shyheim. Okay, let me talk to this person. Then he had to calm down his number one. Say, hey, you got to sit back, because that'll blow your game up too. Yeah. If your number one goes crazy, then it's like, oh, now we don't blew the whole thing up. And everything worked out just like he said.
Yeah. I mean, this probably won't be the best episode for Kyle in terms of bracketology points, but as far as his stock as a potential winner goes, in my opinion, I think this is a really good episode for Kyle, because not only did he get his way, but I think he did it in a way that there was a lot of opposition to his idea of getting rid of Camilla, but he still made it work by putting in that work with Joe. I think that conversation he had with Joe, where clearly he had the trust with Joe enough that Joe told him, like, hey, David's going to talk to you. You're not going to like this, but it's going to be Camilla. Then that he gets Joe on his side to turn against Chrissy, where he's like, okay, I don't know if I have it, and I don't know if I have the ammunition this time to take out David or Shaheen, but I would way rather cut loose Chrissy than cut loose Camilla. And he did what he needed to do to get Joe on his side. Because if he didn't have Joe going to bat too, to take out Chrissy instead of Camilla, I don't know if it's going to happen. So that was really good work from Kyle.
And with that, another great episode is going to be wrapped up, gentlemen. We're going to move on to the after show. We're going to move on to the after show. But don't forget, because they let me touch stuff. Don't forget to check us out on some of our other shows. We got can't find it. Don't know where it's at. Hold on. Bear with me. Oh, here we go. Come on, join us on Survivor. Oh, no, that wasn't it. Okay.
Anybody see my pill bottle?
Hey, look. Hold up, man. There it is. Survivor. Hey, oh, man, what up?
You're changing the background.
Is that what I'm doing? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we got Survivor Stock Watch. Don't forget to tune in. Survivor Social. I know them all by name. Join in with us. We got other podcasters, not as funny as we are, but they cool too. Join us. Next week, we will be, where we're going to be at? I will be in Austin, Texas, at the Bryson Wins event next weekend, so I won't be on the podcast. Hanging out with some interesting guests and also some old Survivor players as well. So with that being said, because I done messed up all these other buttons.
Like, follow, subscribe. All right. Share. Yes. Let everybody know that this is one of the greatest shows to be able to watch at this point in time.
You can't get no more fun than this.
No, we're having a good time.
Hold up. Bam. Look, it never works. Josh, man, you're going to